Now, okay. So, how are you doing? How are you doing?
Uh, Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing okay. So, let's get into some of the questions. So, my first question
Okay.
would be, when did you first join Geographica?
I'd say it was near the start of 2020 when I watched IBX Toy Cat, you know.
Okay. And
That's how
then, what was your first faction for Geo?
the first faction I was ever in, I didn't join a faction. I actually made my own faction.
And what
It
was the
was
name?
with UFCA. It was a puppet of UFCA, but basically I had problems with them. Then I moved to Ecuador, and then I became Ecuador.
Got it. Okay. And then, why did you play Geo specifically? Like, why a Geo poll specifically?
Well, I do I love Geo Nations, like where it's about Earth and especially Minecraft, two of my favorite things together. So that's why when I first found out about Geo, I wanted to try it out and I first liked it.
Okay. And then, how would you describe Geo as a server?
Well, as of right now, I think Geo is probably my favorite server right now, even if I don't play as much as I used to due to the recent decrease in a lot of players that are quitting. And in my view of it, I think it'll always be one of my favorite servers of all my servers.
Okay. And then how do you feel? What do you feel the Geo community is like?
I feel the Geo community, the community is pretty cool. Everybody's like cool to each other, asking this and that. And the thing I hate is when random bots come in and start like spamming it like IPs to different servers, and that's what I kind of hate sometimes because then you have to get a mod inside, and then it's like you have to go through this without. That's why I also like their 2 second thing.
Okay, so this Geo season, you chose to make North Korea. Why was that?
Well, when I this was before I had Obsidian, and the queue was very long. I waited a few hours, so all of the nations I wanted to be were kind of taken, but North Korea wasn't even taken, so I was surprised. So I warped to Korea. I made Pyongyang, and that's how it started because I liked North Korea too at the time.
Okay, so how do you feel about like RP for nations on Geo? Like, do you think RP is like a cool thing that more nations should do, or do you think it should be more focused on like metagame?
I think RP is good for diplomatic things, meetings and stuff like that, trades, everything diplomatic. RP is good. Wars, I wouldn't say RP is very good for wars. Just downright wars, or just give the command and then you do it. But the RP for diplomatic stuff, I can support because I like it too.
Okay, so do you feel that the Geo staff helps the community enough?
Well, a lot of good staff kind of resigned. I do feel as they did a lot of work when they were, but since a lot of good mods resigned, I think new staff are now being implemented, and I think they're doing their job well.
Okay. What have your interactions with staff been like?
Well, there was an embarrassing time when I married Creo,
Mm,
so that was just one of the weird times with the set. We had a whole marriage going on in Taiwan. Don't I couldn't even. Um, Rawls. I like him. He's pretty cool. He gave me a polar bear for no reason. Um, Creo, yeah, he's pretty cool too. I don't really know much about other staff, but the three I like the best: Creo, Rawls, and Monster, since they help the most, in my opinion.
okay, so Geo recently-ish added a bunch of staff, like a bunch of new staff. How
Hmm.
do you think this is gonna affect Geo?
I think the new staff will probably do their job well, and I won't think it will affect Geo that much. Just new people, and so far I think some of them are liking their jobs, but because once you like get signed new, I feel if you're new to something and you like it, the first few weeks you'll start to like it, and I think after like a few months you'll start to go down with it, but you'll still do it.
Okay.
So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Okay. So then, a couple weeks ago. All right. So what would you say Geo's current state is? Like, is it dying? Is it growing? Is it sort of just like, yeah?
Honestly, I'd say it's kind of dying, but I'd also say maybe in the future, maybe next season, the like people will start joining back, seeing there's still opportunity in the server. But I know Geo won't last forever, and everybody else knows that as nothing lasts forever.
Okay. So speaking of Geo possibly growing, what do you think Edvio and hosts could do to revive the server and like new features and that sort of stuff?
If well, they work hard anyways, but if they could do something, maybe fix a couple glitches. Like I remember when I there was this helicopter glitch where if you place it down, sometimes it would just stay there no matter what. So that's kind of annoying.
Okay. And then so there have been two events on Geo, the World War and then the Geo Party. What do you want to see in an event for Geo?
An event, I'd say like a huge like an event, not a world war, as world wars are too big and like risky at this time. Maybe an event where everybody like Canadian tosses event, like a party, but not too much, where everybody can hang out and chill together and learn new things about each other without any hating or like wars or anything like that. Like Canadian toss party, that was a cool time.
Okay, so a slight follow-up to that would be how often should events be on Geo?
I wouldn't maybe not like every week, maybe like once every one-ish, two-ish months at least, in my opinion.
Okay, so then, you talked a bit about diplomacy in this interview before. What are your sort of diplomatic relations on Geo like?
Um, my allies, I mostly talk with like China and Japan usually. So I have very good ties to Japan. I think Japan is my best ally at the moment, and China would be my second. But about my diplomatic status with them, it's pretty good so far. They like me back. So with Taiwan though, I wouldn't say the same because I kind of went down the hill with Taiwan, probably because of me and talking to him. So
Okay. Um, so then, I guess since you mentioned Japan, how do you feel about Ohio building Japan in the Atlantic and sort of similar large scale projects for Geo?
um, I it really doesn't affect me. I mean, it's cool, but it's also kind of cursed. I don't support it, and I don't do not support it at the same time. Uh, I'm pretty neutral about it. Anybody can really build what they want as long as it doesn't really affect the server as a whole.
Okay, so I think next I'll just ask you what you think about a few players, starting with Piggy.
Piggy, well, Piggy's pretty cool sometimes. I mean, sometimes I can't really like him. Sometimes he's pretty cool, but in if I were to have a full opinion on Piggy, I'd say I'm kind of neutral about him because he also helps people as a staff too, so he's pretty cool.
Okay. What about Toss? Canadian Toss.
I don't know much about him, but since the party, I'd say he's pretty cool too, in my opinion, because of that party. And I see that CEO's in this VC right now,
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay. How do you feel about D-Docs?
D Dogs. Well, I don't know much about him, but in I really don't have a full opinion about him because I don't know much about him, so I can't really say anything about him.
Okay. How about ATV?
ATV. I'd say he's pretty cool, even though he comes on like once in a moon, so once in a blue moon. But he when he comes on, he kind of just checks it out how it's going, and then he goes back off. So I'd say he's like in my opinion neutral about this because
Okay.
I don't know much about him.
How do you feel about Sli-Fi?
Uh, yeah. Last season we were pretty cool. He was in my nation with another friend, Baptist. We're Ecuador, and yeah, that's when they joined my nation. I was pretty cool with him till now. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I did something, but now we don't really like each other.
Okay. And then I guess my last couple of questions will be related to well, recently the war system was fixed on Geo. Or
Yes.
I guess made on Geo because they just revamped the whole war system. Do you think this is gonna help the server or hurt the server?
I think it may help the server because I think it's a little more fair this time.
Okay. So, uh, do you think wars should be sort of a main focus of Geo?
In my opinion, probably not, as sometimes wars can be very effective on different nations, and I wouldn't support wars that much.
Okay. And then, um, when it comes to war, what should be considered uh like powerful in a war? Would it be more a small group of really good PvPers or a larger group of not as good PvPers?
I'd say a larger group because the more people you have, the more scared the enemy gets because they think you're like showing off and stuff. And the thing is, I think most enemies don't know how good some people are at PvP and how bad they are at PvP. So I think it's pretty good to have a bigger army instead of a smaller army because then you're not as intimidating.
Okay. Well, are there any audience questions? I would love to see if there are any audience questions.
Probably not. Well, you have the voice of a little kid.
Honestly,
That's not even a question.
honestly, I was
That's just a statement.
I did not expect Revovic to join.
Yeah, I
Uh,
didn't expect that either. I thought he
but yeah,
left
no. If there
forever.
were any audience questions, I'd yeah, we could do a
You're out of questions. You're out
bit
of
of a Q&A. Uh yeah, I don't know. I guess there's a bit more, I guess. So when it comes to like Eastern Asia specifically, it's fairly um inactive, right? I'd say there's not that much activity in Eastern Asia. Like
the
not many players online.
the nation the nation with the most active players in East Asia, I'd say, is Taiwan, honestly. Then would be Japan. Then probably my nation.
Well, why do you think that?
As
Why do you think that is? Why do you think East Asia is so much more inactive compared to?
Well,
Europe or even the Americas?
because those areas are mostly more popular than East Asia because much more people want to be nations there, and plus the recent decrease is also taking a toll on other nations where some people are also going inactive.
Okay. And then I guess one final question would be, how long do you think Geo could last going at the pace that it is?
I think it lasts about maybe another season or two at most, in my opinion, because how it's going right now with the recent decrease, if it keeps going like this, then I don't think there's much chance to revive it unless there's like huge updates.
So, speaking of huge updates, what would you want to see in updates to Geo? What new features?
Uh, Maybe naval units, like vehicles, more weapons, as there's only a limited amount of weapons. Um, Maybe some revamped models because the helicopter model, and I think just like new updates as a whole.
Okay. Well, that's basically all I had for today. It's good talking with you. Um,
I
yeah, have a nice day.